there, teacups, what's brewing? Well, I'm saying that, you know what's brewing. Oh my goodness, Chantal got herself thrown off of YouTube. We've all discussed this day, we've discussed her behaviour and how it would inevitably, but somehow never seem to, lead to this day. And it is here. I'm a little bit shell-shocked. She's been like Teflon the past year or two with all the stuff she's done and showcased on her channel. I didn't necessarily think her channel would get deleted, but I definitely thought at some point demonetization. You know, but her channel's just gone. They won't even allow her to be on YouTube and not be monetized. I've actually just had to make some notes because I started recording this. I got about 20 minutes in and I was like, this is a mess. I'm talking in circles. It's ridiculous. And I've just had to like start re-recording again because it's just not working. So we're going to try and do this in slightly more of an orderly manner. But yeah, she's gone. Quick question before we get into the ramifications of that. I wonder if she knows yet. I got home and I saw on Twitter that this had happened. Someone tweeted me and was like, this isn't a drill. I was like, what? And I went in and there it was all gone. Or there it wasn't, more to the point. I jumped into Zach's live. There's about 10-15 minutes left. And someone told me it was 8:30 a.m. in Canada. Given her sleep pattern, I don't know if she knows this yet. I bet there are a ton of people messaging her. But as of turning on this camera, there's been no news from her, I should say. That might be different when I turn the camera off and I go and check. I can't imagine her going gentle into that good night. Yeah? So I think we will hear from her regardless because this is her entire income and her entire life in a lot of ways. So much of her life is connected to her online presence and to YouTube itself. She's not going to know what to do with herself, but she's going to have to figure it out because her bills are still going to come due. And as of right now, she's got no source of income. So here's the thing with YouTube. I'm fairly sure, I obviously haven't experienced it, but I'm fairly sure once your channel gets removed, they sever the contract with you. And they sever the AdSense account that your YouTube channel is connected to. So any money she's earned this month, she's not going to get. That means her last payment was at some point after the 21st of February. And that's all she wrote. She's not getting much as money. And the YouTube will keep it, it's lost. And so even if this gets overturned and she gets reinstated, I'm not sure she'll have access back to that money. I don't think it's going to get overturned necessarily. I don't think she can appeal it. Whether she'll ban, evade and turn up in other channels, a whole nother point that we'll go into in a minute. But I'm trying not to get ahead of myself because things got so messed up last time. But I don't think she's getting that money back regardless, which leads into a question about her bills, about what she's going to be able to afford to do. About the fact that I don't think she has, even with the amount of money she earned, I don't think she has the financial padding to make it through a couple of months sorting this out. So even if she realized right now, no, there's no getting back and she wanted to go to another platform, actually I'm getting ahead of myself, so I won't go to that right now, but this is going to take time, whether she gets it reversed, whether she doesn't, which is much more likely. This is going to take time and I don't think she has the money to sustain herself while she does. And I don't think she really has anyone to turn to in terms of getting money if she doesn't have it, because Pete's would be the obvious one, but Pete's is currently unemployed. And I do want to talk about Pete's in a minute because the housing, her rent will be due, but it's in Pete's name. And they did that because of her poor financial history. So clearly it's important to renting. My friend, sorry, my nose is quite itchy. My friend in Canada, when she rented her apartment, she nearly got refused. She did get refused for it and then got it overturned because they check your renter's history. Yeah, when you rent stuff. And there was someone with the same kind of unusual spelling of her name, but with a different middle initial. And it got a little bit confused. And she had like marks against her in whatever process they go through to check that the renter is reliable. And so she got turned down for her housing and then had to prove she wasn't this woman. And sorry, the call to prayer just started if it's coming up. So if anything happens with the housing, Pete has to bear the brunt of that. So even if he goes to try and rent somewhere else, which I don't think he can afford to do alone, but even if he does, that's going to impact him. Now, obviously, we're not quite there yet. This is only a few hours old, but that is definitely something to think about. And again, he is an adult, he makes decisions, but when they moved in together, she seemed quite secure. It was a stupid thing to do to put his name on the lease, I do believe. I wouldn't rely on Foodie for anything, but they've been friends for years and years, and she was earning a fair amount of money on YouTube. So the expectation that she would pay for everything, which is something she did tell him, I can see why he thought it would be okay, even if it's something I would never do. You know, I'd never rely on her, but he's been with her a lot longer, and then they have just kind of stuck together this many years, so I guess he figured it'll be fine. And here we are. In terms of other bills, like her credit card, I get the impression that during her time with Nada, she began racking up her credit card more. She's always ordered a lot of things, but if the money was going to him and she was doing a lot of purchases and she was buying a lot of groceries for him, plus all her own expenses, more weed, because her weed habit's out the window in terms of, it's not out the window, that was a stupid thing to say, it's just through the roof. Out the window. It'll have to be out the window now, she's not going to be able to afford it. Oh, that's a whole other thing. Foodie Beauty having to deal with this sober because she can't afford the drugs. Oh, that is something I would pay to see. Man. Anyway, so the housing has obviously her being out on the street, her and Pete's being out on the street, because you can say, well, they can both just go get another job. I don't think she's employable, particularly in this market where so many people would be looking for work because COVID was a cruel taskmaster. I don't think she's going to be on the top of anybody's list, even if forced. You know, we heard her talking about, oh, just do a few hours, yeah, whatever, when she was thinking of getting a job essentially for fun and for socialization. Like, she would not take it seriously at all. She is so used to just having money flung at her for doing very, very little. I'm not sure she can adapt back to a regular life, whether she needs to or not. But even if she chooses to and she chooses to knuckle down, I don't think she's employable. All it would take is one Google search. And even if they didn't Google search, she's been out of work for so long. Her CV is going to be a mess. The last job she was in, she got fired from. Although I think she did end up getting a wrongful dismissal settlement, so that might not count against her. But it's been years. She's got no skills and no work ethic. She's going to be incredibly difficult to hire. And I wouldn't wish her as working anywhere, to be completely honest. But I don't know what she's going to do if she doesn't get a job. And I'm going to talk about other platforms and things in a minute, so I'm just trying to stop myself for a second. She also, I didn't believe that she did this, and I don't know how far she's gotten into it if she did, but she was like, oh yeah, the taxes are all sorted. Even though she had shown no signs of going through her receipts and sending off that information, I get the impression if she did anything, she maybe called the accountant. He was like, yeah, you're fucked. Here are the numbers. But it seemed like, according to her, which I do not believe, she had gotten the ball rolling on taxes, and god damn what timing that was. She's still going to owe that money, and if she's informed the Canadian government at any time in the last couple of days, if they are aware of this, if the process has started and she doesn't wake up for a few hours and her income is gone, and her immediate thought, because she's obviously going to panic and be upset when she realizes, is not to call her accountant and be like, don't tell them, which is kind of a difficult strategy to follow through on. Like, yeah, no, don't worry about it. Like, what is she gonna do when they come calling for that money? Because whether she's got an income now or not, she's already late on her taxes. She's still going to owe it, and that's going to be a huge amount. The only thing I did laugh a little about on this whole experience was, guys, you know I hate Nada. Yeah, that's just, I do. The troll in me, the troll we talked about a while ago. Nada now significantly out-earns her on YouTube. On the platform that she created for him. He is now earning money on YouTube and she is not. I want to know, is she going to seriously go back to Nada? Because she's shown signs of that anyway. Is she going to go back and maybe expect him to cough up some money? I don't think it will happen. I think she's crazy if she thinks she's going to get a red cent out of him. But I could see her being deluded enough to try. Or maybe the gifts, like the iPad. Try and sell the iPad. Give it to me. I want to sell it to get money. The iMac, is she going to resell that and go back to her phone? I mean, it wouldn't be the least sensible thing she's ever done. But I just wonder where she's going to get any money from. The only opportunity she really has is other platforms, but that has its own problems. Yes, she has her OnlyFans, and that is currently monetized. People can currently subscribe to it, but I still think they don't pay for like a month, do they? And I don't know how much she's earning on there, to be completely honest. We might see her put more content on there, perhaps, but quite aside from her laziness, and she is very, very lazy, the inertia of her life, but I don't think she entirely understands how to get things set up on different platforms online. And she definitely doesn't have the ability to kind of juggle those platforms in the way she would need to juggle them to really start making some coin. She's got an audience at the moment if she can bring them to other platforms, because for a lot of people, you'll have someone you like, but they'll go like, but I don't want to go over to Twitch. I don't want to go over to Patreon. I don't want to go over to another site to see you. I want to see you on YouTube because that's where I'm used to seeing you. Yeah. But there are other platforms. There is Twitch, there is Patreon, there is OnlyFans. I don't know if she'd be able to do them, and I don't know how fast she'd be able to get them set up. If she went to Twitch, I believe you have to have a certain amount of viewers in your streams, and you have to stream a certain amount consecutively for a certain amount of time. I watched a video on it at some point a while back, but it would require work and a certain amount of consistency from her, which she's never shown herself to be capable of. I'm not sure anyone who has a Patreon. Who has a Patreon that I watch? Someone does. Who is it? Jasmine. If Jasmine is watching, Jasmine the sequel, please let me know down below, my dear. I meant to actually message you on Twitter and ask, and I forgot. How frequently does Patreon pay, and how easy is it to get it set up? Because I imagine Patreon is a little bit like OnlyFans in the sense that people prepay for content, but how quickly would she be able to access it? Quite taking away from the idea that she would have to build that audience as well, and not everyone wants to, because she certainly hasn't shown herself to be reliable in providing content. But if it was the only way she could get money, maybe she'd be more reliable. She'd be equally messy, but more reliable. But even if she made that decision now, and I think she'll drag on making that decision because she'll just be in blind panic and hoping that she can get YouTube back, it's going to take time that I don't think she has. I don't think she has the buffer to be able to sustain herself for the amount of time she's going to need to do it when it comes down to all said and done, assuming she can even get monetized on these places. Because her content, if she did pre-recorded videos, but she's always been super resistant to that since she started the live stream, she wants it to be easy, easy, easy. The only one I think she's going to pursue really is going to be OnlyFans. But guys, when we talk about it getting a little bit sad, the things I'm interested in, a kind of horrified, I can't quite look away sort of a way. I don't subscribe to her OnlyFans, by the way. I'm interested to see how she chooses to pursue OnlyFans, because I think she will. It's the only one she's currently got set up. The problem with OnlyFans is OnlyFans for Chantal is not really serious business, or it wasn't until now. It's there as a novelty. People will subscribe just to see what she'll actually do. But in terms of sustained subscriptions for the kind of content she wants to put on there, I'm not sure that people will be willing to do it. And she had those problems live streaming on there. She was having issues actually getting the live streams done. I don't think people are going to pay the money for just pre-recorded content there from her. even if she decided she was going to use it like YouTube and put the videos on the way she did there, I think she'll try live streaming, she'll have technical issues, and then she'll just panic. She should just, I suppose, in the interim while she tries to get something more permanent set up, start doing pre-recorded videos and putting them up on OnlyFans. But they do get leaked immediately, and she certainly doesn't have the money for a lawyer now. She's not going to be able to pursue anybody. So if she does, she's not going to earn anywhere near as much as she did on YouTube, because people can just wait for people to get the content from behind the paywall if they're really, really interested. I think there'll be a flurry of interest now because she doesn't have another platform now. She has Instagram, like she doesn't have YouTube as another platform now, I should say. There are other social medias. But I don't see it as a viable replacement for YouTube. And maybe she just, she'll decide, well, it's the only one I have and I'll make it work. That's a possibility. But I'm a little concerned with OnlyFans being OnlyFans and what generally that represents in terms of content. The amount, I'm interested but don't want to know the amount she's going to be willing to degrade herself on OnlyFans to try and make the kind of money she was making. Because she'd have to do some things. She would have to do some things, and then where would you go? Think of all the conversations we have when she's like, I'd rather starfish for money, I'd rather give blowjobs, I'd rather do whatever than get a regular job. Well, honey, you're about to test out that theory. And I'm interested in an academic sense, and I'm horrified in a personal one. I don't think I want to know, but I kind of do. Like, what is she going to do next? We'll see. There is a possibility she can get back on YouTube. Pete's does have his channel, and given that that's, I'm assuming, in his name and his bank account, otherwise it would be terminated too, then she could take over his channel, have the money go into his account, and then him give her the money, or him pay the rent, or him do whatever. That's a possibility, but the problem is with her audience being so against her in a lot of ways and being loud enough, or I should say, with the portion of her audience that is against her, they can certainly be loud enough that they would report her for ban evading, and it wouldn't actually matter what the content on his channel was. It'd be ban evasion. So then Pete's would also lose his channel, which is currently his only source of income, and he's been looking for a job, but I mean, he hasn't been particularly desperate to find one because, he's having his own mental health issues. There's been no driving force to make him go find work because she's been taking care of it. But I'm sure he appreciates the income he gets from YouTube because he's not earning anything else. And so if she goes on his channel, there's no guarantee that they'll make the kind of money they're thinking, and it just endangers his ability to earn money as well. She's selfish enough to do it, but I think it would be a bad idea because I think she'd be reported for ban evasion immediately. And I think it's a very bad day in Foodie's world at the moment. I am riveted to see what the next message is going to be, but I'm not sure she has an out to this, and I want to see where she goes. But even if she gets a channel back on YouTube, it's much easier to get her thrown off again if she's been thrown off once. Because after this point, even if her content is perfectly fine, she is ban evading, and there are enough, she would be ban evading, sorry, I'm tired, I keep misspeaking. She would be ban evading, and there are enough people out there that just straight hate her that they would be reporting that every time. So we'll see. She's going to have to find another platform, and she's going to have to see what she can build, because I don't think she'd be willing to do any of the mundane peasant things like go to work. I'm going to leave it there. I realise a lot of people will be celebrating this. I realise that a lot of people won't feel sympathetic at all. I don't feel sympathetic to Foodie precisely. She 100% did this to herself. She put out that content, she told everyone to fuck off on the way, and now is all going to be all Pikachu face that it's actually happened. But in the more serious sense of homelessness and other issues, I worry I worry about where this is going. I imagine the moment she gets online, I'm gonna remember just exactly the tone she has with people and feel less worried about it. But we will see. And if we get any big news, I guess we'll talk about it. All right. In terms of my channel, I haven't made any choices yet. Sorry, I thought I was going to finish them, but that reminded me. We'll talk about it, but I'm not actually sure where I'm going with the channel, if it's just going to be removed, maybe. I mean, I'm a bit 50-50 getting out of the reaction game anyway, but we'll wait a week or two and we'll just see what happens with Foodie first, because I've always wanted to know where it ended. And I messaged my friend, I was like, that train wreck I react to has gone off YouTube. And she said to me, and I suppose this is a way to think about it, she was like, I think I'd rather end like this, because the other possible ending was just death. And I didn't want that to happen. So I guess this would be an end, but I just want to see where this goes before I make any other decisions. So I'll do that, and I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.